DeLuna Coffee is owned and operated by diehard Florida State fans and boosters, the Lemmix family in Pensacola. So cut them some slack for their Hurricane blend. No green and orange, and it's definitely not all about some random letter in the alphabet. It simply is a blend for those of you who love that strong coffee flavor without bitterness. DeLuna has combined 2 different South American beans with a Hawaiian bean. In fact, the Hurricane blend has won as many ACC titles as the school in Coral Gables. Try it or one of their other 24 blends and get a discount when you use the promo code WARCHANT15. Visit DeLunaCoffee.com and check out their Facebook and Instagram.
From Tally to Cali,
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up! Wake up!
WarChant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, fueled by DeLuna Coffee.
Coffee's for closers only.
Now here's WarChant.com's Aslan Hutchavandi
And Corey Clark.
Wake up! What is up? It is Wake Up Warchant. It is fueled by DeLuna Coffee, DeLunaCoffee.com. Come explore our world of coffee. DeLuna is spelled D-E-L-U-N-A. Coffee, 2 F's, 2 E's. You know it goes. .com. Use the promo code WARCHANT15 to save 15% on your discount, or rather save 15% off your order. The discount's 15%, Aslan. Figure it out. At DeLunaCoffee.com. WarChant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source. Big things happening today, Corey, over on WarChant.com and the YouTube channel. There's going to be a live Q&A with FSU Board of Trustees Chairman Peter Collins. It's going down at 7 o'clock on our YouTube channel. Free to watch, but if you want to get involved, I think you got to be a subscriber. I think we're going to be taking your questions off of the Tribal Council. So tune in for that, 7 p.m., FSU Board of Trustees Chairman Peter Collins. Probably Ira and him taking questions, talking about things, maybe Gene. Tune in to find out. Corey Clark, my soul is warm. As we were doing the show the other night, as we record this, you're like fussing at, your son. Like, what are you doing, man? Go to bed. He's like, all right, man, love you. And you're like, I love you too. Just feels
I don't feel
good,
like
man.
I said it. I didn't say it that dismissively. I hope not. He knows. He feels it. He feels the love. Even when I'm yelling at him to get his butt in his bedroom.
Yeah. I tweeted this the other weekend, like when I was home for Gasparilla, I had a little in me. And, I keep telling my buddies, like, I'm like, love you, man. Like when we say goodbye, like on the phone or whatever. And they just laugh, like, all right, man, I love you too. They're like, what the hell are you talking about? And then I dropped my one buddy off, actually at his house. And, like, he's swapping houses, all right? So get this. He worked with a guy that now has a home in Breckenridge, Colorado. I don't know if it's actual city, but whatever, the ski place. Like, he's got a house that's, I guess, on the bus line to take you up to the ski lift. So they're swapping houses because the guy who lives in Breckenridge is like, all right, like, I can take snow for a little bit, but I don't need it 6 months of the year or whatever. So they're swapping houses, Tampa to Breckenridge, Breckenridge to Tampa. And the buddy arrives a little bit early to start the house swap, but my friend is out with all of us at Gasparilla. Meanwhile, he's left his wife at home to entertain them. And I'm like, what are you doing, man? Like, you can't just leave your wife at home to entertain people she really doesn't know. And he's like, it's fine. But eventually, like, I think she called him and he got his wits about him to go back home. So dropped him off at his house. And I'm just like, I can't believe you're crazy, man. And he's getting ready to get out of the car. He's just like, hey, man. I'm like, what's up? He's like, I love you. I'm like, all right, I love you too, man. So thank you, Corey, for bringing that into my life. It's made me feel better.
Man, I think guys should tell other guys they love them more, or just friends in general. Girls should tell girls that.
Yeah.
I feel like women are more forthcoming with their emotions and will tell a girl that they love their friend that they love them. But I think guys should too. That's what I'm trying to. Get going.
Spread
no shame in that.
Yeah. I don't love what's happened to Florida State basketball, Corey. 75-69 loss to Clemson. That's 3 straight for the Noles. I think they're now 7th maybe in the ACC. Another injury. Naheem McLeod, who was an absolute revelation the other night against Virginia Tech, injured his hand. Was that who Ham was? I don't know if you were on the Zoom. I know you're writing. But he mentioned something about we're out. We don't have one of our 6'9" guys, and we lost a 7-footer. And I don't know if he was talking about Naheem in terms of like more than maybe just that game that night. But that would be a huge blow to Florida State. But 75-69, the final score. Lots of things went wrong. Hamilton's so forthcoming. It's really weird when you think about how forthcoming he is. Like if you were that forthcoming as a football coach and talked about certain things, like, hey, we're just not the team that we used to be. Like we're just not that mature and kind of grown up. Like if a head football coach said that, they'd be like, oh gosh, heavens to Betsy. But they're not, man. Balsha's not here. Raekwon Gray's not here. A lot of guys that were here and part of the success are not there. The zone defense is something you pointed out earlier in the week. The whole switching 1 through 5, could they do that still with Tanner and Gom out there? That was something that they try to go to some zone principles to take some of that relief off of them. Rebounding, obviously, was not a strong suit for them. Clemson with several offensive rebounds that really extended their lead late in the second half there. What do you take away from the latest loss for Florida State on the hardwood?
Yeah, I think the biggest story is McLeod. Hamilton said afterwards that he thought it was 6 to 8 weeks. We'll see. It's a broken finger, so maybe he can come back quicker than that. Maybe he can try to play with it. It won't be healed for probably – it's a broken bone, so it won't be healed for 6 to 8 weeks, but that doesn't necessarily mean you can't play with it. But he only played 2 minutes on Wednesday night. And so basically now you're down Osborne and McLeod. So our man, the weatherman, Prieto, played, what did he play, 16 minutes. That's a walk-on, folks. In a pretty pivotal ACC matchup, having to play 16 minutes because they can't play Ballard, they don't play Ballard, and Gom's the only other big they have. Osborne and McLeod going down is a bummer. And John Butler, yes, he's 7 foot, but he's 7 foot 40 pounds. He's not a guy that plays in the paint. He can't right now. He's just not built that way.
Well, ask that guy from Clemson who left the game with a shoulder injury after running into Mr. Butler.
That's right. Point? Well, look, man, he's starting to exert his dominance. Let's get him in the weight room. That's all he needs to do is eat cheeseburgers and lift weights from March to October. But yeah, when McLeod only playing 2 minutes, you just essentially had no inside presence at all, none. And that's a bummer. I don't know what else to say, man. It's kind of par for the course for the last 2 weeks to, you lose Osborne for the season. Raekwon and Caleb miss a pretty pivotal game at home. And then McLeod looks like you said, a revelation. He looks like the next Shaq. And then he breaks his finger 2 minutes in and doesn't play on the road. And, I don't know that you win the game if he plays his normal minutes, but I don't think you get out rebounded 37-24. I just don't. I think he makes a difference. And they didn't. I think, what did Florida State have? Let me look this up.
What you need?
Florida State had 5 offensive rebounds. Mm-hmm. McLeod gets that in a minute. He got that in a minute against Duke. But you don't have him on the floor, so that's a tough break. The defense, I didn't think the defense was terrible. The way they give up 6 out of 15 threes, you could tell they switched it up. They're like, we're not going to just let these guys shoot uncontested threes. They started the game not switching 1 through 5. Ngom started the game, and I watched that I was focused on that. They were having the guard, whoever was guarding the point guard, would actually go around the screen, and Ngom would kind of show and then go back to the guy he was guarding, which is not something Florida State's ever done, but Virginia Tech got him out of that. And it hurt that, Clemson, especially early on, hit some really contested, tough jumpers. I don't even think it was terrible defense. It's just guys hit tough 17-footers. They hit, I think, their first 4 or 5 shots. And then late in the first half, there was just a bad run there. Yeah. Where I think Clemson went on a 9-2 run to close it, to go up by 9. I think they got the lead up to 12, as much as 12 in the second half. Florida State cut it to 2 with about 2.5, 3 minutes to go, but then never made a basket again. Neither did Clemson, by the way. Right. But Clemson got offensive rebounds and got fouled, made enough free throws to win the game. And it's like, I don't know, man. Who are you mad at? Who are you mad at? That you're supposed to have Osborne out there. Malik Osborne makes a difference. Naheem McLeod makes a difference. And they played a total of 2 minutes in a road game. And you had to play a walk-on, a good walk-on. Preto's, maybe he's not even a walk-on anymore. He might be a full scholarship guy. He should be if he's not. Either way, he's been in the program like as long as Stan Jones. But he's it's a bit of a mismatch athletically at some points, and you had to play him 16 minutes. And that's not something you want to do, but, man, if McLeod's out for a long time, that's what you're going to have to do. Because Ngom can only play what Ngom play. He played 21 minutes, had 6 points, so made his buckets. But, he's not a defensive juggernaut by any stretch. and then you don't have anybody else you can play in the post. Nobody. You don't really have any rim protection. It's a tough deal. It's a tough deal, but you start to wonder what is the rest of this season. They can still make a run. Wake Forest at home, obviously, if they want any chance of making the tournament, any chance, they have to win Saturday at home against Wake Forest. I think Wake Forest is 18-5. They beat Pitt by 20 points on Wednesday night. That would be another nice big win for this program. That I think is your only chance to be in contention. You can't have a 4-game losing streak in this conference at this stretch without Osborne, maybe without McLeod, and think you're going to make any sort of run towards the tournament. But, that's a winnable game. But, man, it's 3 losses in a row. I thought this game they played a lot better than they played against Georgia Tech. I thought they played a lot better defensively, especially in the second half, than they did against Virginia Tech. But in the end, it didn't matter. They still lost.
So, I mean, for you, is it more of a defensive issue? I just feel like I don't know how they're really having to space the floor. It feels like there's no real confident shooter for them. They try to do high screen and roll. Like Prieto's trying to set screens at the top of the key. So's Ngam, but like Clemson's fighting through the screen, piece of cake. They're, totally pressuring the ball. Is it one of those things where you just think ultimately the defense is going to have to fix this thing, or because I don't know, they can't go in the portal and grab a shooter right now, but it just seems like offensively they're out of sorts as well. Other than Caleb Mills, who God bless him. I caught the second half of the game. I don't know if he maybe nicked his arm up or something, but he had his arm tied, had a bandage on his arm. I don't know if he was maybe getting an IV or whatever to deal with his tonsillitis or whatever he's battling to try to go out there. So they're just. I feel like if anything, I feel like they're outmatched offensively right now. I just don't. They're not spacing the floor well, and I don't. Anthony Polite only taking 2 shots in 23 minutes. Is that a problem? Just offensively, I'm a bit perplexed as to what's going on.
I agree with you on Polite. The 2 shots, he was 1 of 2 from the floor. Both of them were threes. That's a pretty good percentage. Maybe shoot more, Anthony. He's actually shot better here lately. You're going to probably need 5, especially with no inside presence, which without McLeod, without Osborne, you don't really have anything. So, he needs to shoot more. And then, you got, Fletcher scored 5 points. Cameron Fletcher scored 5 points. He played 7 minutes. Yeah. That's it. So, the rotation basically was whittled down to about 8. It used to be 11. Now we're down to 8, and 60 of those minutes were a walk-on. So that's... it's the depth. They have depth, but man, when you start losing guys for long stretches, that depth wears thin, and they don't have a ton of depth in the front court anyway. Quincy Ballard has not become. Right now, it's only his second year, but he's not become the player they were hoping for. So he's, it's tough for him to get on the court. And to answer your question, I don't think it's offensive. I thought they shot 50-something% against Virginia Tech, which is a good number. I think they shot over 50% from the floor. Against Clemson, they shot 48% from the floor, which is a very good number, especially against Clemson. They were only 7 of 22 from 3, but that's not horrible. Yeah. We've seen this team shoot horribly from 3. That wasn't that. They actually outscored Clemson from 3. Clemson hit 6 threes. They hit 7. So you actually outscored them from 3. Maybe make a few more free throws, but I'm starting to wonder. It's 4 bad games in a row from Matthew Cleveland. I shouldn't say bad, just inefficient. He played 20 minutes. He was 3 of 8 from the floor, 0 of 2 from 3, 2 of 3 from the free throw line. So we like that he's starting to make threes again, or free throws.
He knocked down 2 on a trip.
Yeah, that's big. He's got to start doing that. But he followed up at he had a 3 of 11 and a 2 of 10. This was a 3 of 8. He's too good a player to be a -4 in his 20 minutes on the court. He needs to be better. He needs to be more impactful. He's too good a player to, like I said, these last 3 or 4 games, he hasn't taken up the slack, and he's talented enough to do that. And it hasn't happened yet. He hasn't been horrible, but he hasn't played great. And I think for this team to go anywhere, either Caleb Mills or Matthew Cleveland have to play great. The other guys are what they are. The 2 wild cards, the 2 guys that can go make buckets, that can go on runs, that can score 20 in a game, 25 in a game, are Cleveland and Mills. Mills, really basically didn't play the last 2 games, and Cleveland hasn't shot well in 4 or 5 games. So I think that's I think we know what the defense is, man. It's not going to be great. It's got limitations. But I also don't know if I don't know. That's a tough question because I don't know if I blame the offense because the offense, again, shot almost 50% from the floor. That's not a bad percentage on the road at all. But, the first half, you can't keep giving up 45 points and a half. They went on the road.
You also can't end the game, not getting a
Yes.
field goal in your last,
Sure.
20 minutes.
But that happens more than you'd like to admit for all these schools. Like, it's just these last two like Clemson went the last 5 minutes without a bucket from the floor. Literally, they didn't make a field goal the last 5 minutes. They made some free throws, but they didn't make a shot for the final 5 minutes, and they still won. You go to Georgia Tech, who's not a very good offensive team, and clearly they've shown it the last few games since they beat Florida State. You can't give up 45 and a half. You just are 44 and a half. And then to Clemson, you give up 45 and a half. There used to be times where Florida State would give that up to them for games. And you're letting these teams that are offensively challenged feel good about themselves and get 44, 45 points on the board. That's way too much in a first half when you're not fouling. Like, second halves are different because you can't really judge numbers like point totals because in the second half, a lot of times you're fouling at the end and they get 6 or 8 free points. There are no free points in the first half, and yet your last two road games, you've been up 44 and 45 to two not good offenses. Certainly not good teams. So I guess really the defense is the issue, but when you're losing 3 in a row to the likes of Georgia Tech, Virginia Tech, and Clemson, it's all an issue. Polite scoring 5 points, only taking 2 shots, that's an issue. The fact that he led you in rebounding with 5, a guard, that's an issue. And I don't know how you overcome that if McLeod can't play. McLeod is a guy I think that if he played 28 minutes, could be a double-double guy. But I don't know if he's going to play. Leonard acted like he was out 6 to 8 weeks with a broken finger. So if that's the case, then man, it's going to be real problemache from here on out.
A lot of spring football podcasts coming up, probably. A lot of focus on
You
spring
ain't
football.
lying, buddy. You ain't lying.
Whole shows just doing position previews. Just one position, just a whole show. Speaking of football, plenty of those questions coming up in the Renegade Express mailbag. We're taking them all. It's long. It'll have to last you for the next 2 days. Well, we probably won't have a show Friday unless there's some sort of crazy breaking news. Hopefully you checked out the recruiting chat with Michael Langston. Not a lot that went down on National Sign Day for Florida State. They're focusing on the transfer portal. So we'll see how that goes as the winter and then spring progresses. But we'll take a break. We'll come right back with Renegade Express right after this.
Boneless wings gone wild. Zaxby's all-new Buffalo Garlic Blaze. Saucy, savory, spicy, spectacular. Try it on the new Buffalo Garlic Blaze Boneless Wings meal. Comes with fries, Texas toast, and a drink. Only at Zaxby's.
And don't forget to listen in for the Zaxby's indescribably good Player of the Week every Monday on Wake Up Warchant.
Welcome back at it. Fun times now. Mailbag, all your questions, warchant.com, Tribal Council. It's also called the Renegade Express. If you know, or something like that. I think that's one of those cool memes that kids are doing these days, Coors. Nonetheless, let's open the mailbag. First question comes from Bardstown, Kentucky. Bourbon is your friend, Dave. A year ago, you guys brought up the idea of matchups being planned 6 to 9 months in advance as opposed to the 3 to 5 years in advance. With the release of this season's schedule, is there a season in Florida State history that you would like to see us redo, either this year or next year? Perhaps 1980 or 1991. So I think he's saying if we could run back a year, like that schedule, I guess week by week, just go through it all over again. But in the present day, so if you did the 93 schedule, you would play, Florida last game of the year in the Swamp. Is there a year that just stands out in your mind? I mean, 80, that's Oktoberfest, right? That's like Nebraska and Notre Dame.
Well, that was 81.
81.
That was all on the road. 80 they were at Nebraska, then Pitt at home. So that doesn't do anything for me really. I think probably played Southern Miss back then. I guess it's about what we're trying to accomplish. Are we trying to win games or go to cool places? Because 91, it'd be cool to go to Michigan. That'd be fun, right? That'd be kind of neat. Other than that, though, I don't know. At LSU was 91 too. I mean, that's cool. That'd be awesome to go to at Michigan and at LSU. And this. By the way, how about Florida State back then? Just whatever. We'll go play you in Michigan. We'll go play at Notre Dame. Y'all don't even have to come back. We'll go to LSU. We'll play over there 5 times. Y'all will come to Tallahassee once. Nebraska never came. Just crazy what Florida State used to do back then. I don't know. That's a hard one to answer, and I don't know if we're supposed to talk about what would be good for the program or what would be good for us to just go cover because it would be cool.
For the young folks out there, the 91 schedule started off in lovely Orange County, California, in Anaheim against Brigham Young.
Yeah, Ty Detmer, reigning Heisman Trophy winner, Ty Detmer.
Yeah, Tulane in Western Michigan, then came to Doak and caught it. Then Corey and his dad went to Michigan and gave it to the Wolverines.
Yep. Then back home for Syracuse, right?
They got it. Virginia Tech in Orlando.
Yeah,
That's
a little
pretty
tougher
cool.
game than people thought. That wasn't Virginia Tech of what they became, and Florida State struggled with them that day.
Yeah. Then back home against the Blue Raiders, Middle Tennessee State. I think that's what they are.
Yeah. What was that one? 35-10.
39-10.
Yeah, they even do well in that one. Like it was weird. Like after the Syracuse game where they pummeled Syracuse, which was a good Syracuse team. They were like top 10 in the country. They had
Correct.
Kirby Dardar. They had the missile Quadri Ismail, Rocket's brother.
Oh, yeah.
After that Syracuse game, they kind of really struggled the rest of the season. Injuries hurt, and I think maybe I don't know. They just never really quite found the magic they had in Ann Arbor.
Then went to Death Valley, took down LSU. I guess the real Death. I don't know. Whatever. They went to LSU. Then they went to Louisville.
Again, not a good LSU team.
Road Louisville, and then back home for South Carolina, the first wide right, and heartbroken and crestfallen to Gainesville to end out the regular season. But then, hey,
went and put it on the wrecking crew in Dallas.
10-2. Put that in your
What a
pipe.
game.
So that's a pretty good one. I like that. I can do that.
That is good. If you could play, you get to play Jimbo again. He's in the news. This is fun. You get to play him in Dallas at the Cotton Bowl. That would be fun. Yeah, I mean, that was when you look in the totality, you go at Louisville, you're out in California, you're Michigan, you're Baton Rouge. Yeah, man, that's one of the all-time schedules. I think I'm going to stick with that one.
And then a Cotton Bowl trip. That's not too shabby.
Yeah.
That's not too shabby. But yeah, 81, man. 81. Home Louisville, home against Memphis. Then we go to Lincoln. Then we go to Columbus. And then we go to South Bend. And then we go to Pittsburgh. And then we go to Baton Rouge. My man, Bobby, my man.
And again, Pittsburgh in 1981 was not the Pittsburgh you guys have grown up with. They were a legit national power, as was Ohio State and Nebraska. I mean, that is just crazy to do that. 5 in a row on the road is just nuts.
Incredible. And then shutting it down with Western Carolina, Miami, Southern Miss, and then the Gators. But the Gators was on the road, so back on the.
Check out that Southern Miss score, by the way.
Yeah, what happened there? That was well before Brett Favre.
I've told this story. I remember it's one of my earliest.
They're 14th, by the way. Southern Miss was 14th, Florida State 20th.
Yeah. So anyway, we're at my dad's buddy's house because Florida State wasn't on TV all the time back then. Like it was like twice a season. Otherwise, you just had to try to find a radio station or read about it. And so we're all excited. It's the ABC game at 3:30, I think. Florida State, Southern Miss, and then it's. I've talked about this before, but there was some drama going on with the space shuttle, where they had to land it in like White Sands instead of where they normally land it. They had to do some sort of alteration to the landing. And this was when the space shuttle was like the second or third voyage, probably, where they had to have an emergency landing in another state for some reason, and they kept cutting out from the football game to go cover the space shuttle landing. And every time they came back to the football game, Southern Miss had scored again. Like we never even saw Florida State with the ball. We would just see Southern Miss driving in to score to make it 28-0 after we had seen them make it 14-0. Really bizarre memory that I've held on to for some reason.
Looking at here, New York Times. Astronauts ordered to end flight today. 3 days early. Recall prudent. The recall was prudent, NASA says. So, yeah, that was in the paper. The same day, though. That's on the 14th, which is the same day they played the game.
Yeah, and I think they landed. They didn't. I don't know, where does the space shuttle normally land?
Oh, but yeah. So it says
Texas?
On the 14th they were ordered to end the flight today. So as you're reading this on the 14th, Saturday game day, they're going. I'm not a premium I'm not a premium member. I can't read it. It's just like
Understood. After what they did to Jameis, I get you. I feel you, Aslan.
Oh man, you mentioned the Jimbo thing. I mean, I don't want to go too far off course. Did you watch any of the basketball game on Tuesday night between Texas Tech and Texas?
A little bit.
Man,
I think I had the volume down for most of it, but a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, that was rowdy. I was just thinking, I want to almost maybe for March, because I know Ira's always wanted to do some kind of fun bracketology that's not basketball related. But hopefully we'll find a way somehow to get into that tournament. I want to be like maybe like the top 64 most jilted fan bases, or like the top 64 most like bitter matchups between like a former coach or a former player. Like if USC were to play Oklahoma, they would give Caleb Williams the devil. But man, Chris Beard, I mean that I felt bad for the Texas basketball players. That was the closest thing to the Coliseum. Like Lubbock wanted blood.
It's funny, too, because I think Chris Beard is a Texas alum. It didn't come out of nowhere. It wasn't like just leaving as a mercenary from one school to another. What coach on the Texas Tech campus wouldn't go to Austin? Plus, this guy graduated from Texas. I would have thought Texas Tech fans would have been a little more understanding, but I get it. It's fandom. But what was funny is I was listening to I had the XM in the car when I was driving Brady somewhere. And they were talking to Jeff Goodman, who I can't remember who he works for, but he's a national basketball writer. And he was in Lubbock, and he was on the phone in the parking lot like 4 hours before the game talking to Mark Packer, I guess, and was saying that there were thousands of people out tailgating before the game for a basketball game.
Yep.
It's Lubbock, man. They're built different out there. They're built different. A lot of places in Texas are a little bit different. Waco, College Station, Lubbock, some different brands out there, but they were riled up and ready to go. That was I did notice that it seemed very loud and very energetic the whole game.
Yeah, they like welcomed in the bus. They were just the bus was pulling in the night before.
Really?
And there was like a mob out. They must have been at their hotel. I mean, they're certainly not going to drive through campus the day before a game. But Goodman had the video, and my buddy who's a Texas alum that covers sports in Austin was just like, "Yeah, this is about what I expected."
That's interesting. I would have again. I get it because I guess you feel jilted, and he did take you to the national championship game, so he proved you can win big at Texas Tech. But yeah, I wouldn't. I didn't know. I didn't follow up with any of that they felt that hurt by him leaving to go back to his alma mater. But hey, man, it is what it is.
Dave also gives me relationship advice. Aslan, you mentioned wanting to get married and have kids. Well, they say dress for the job you want, not the job you have. All right, right on. The next time those progressive becoming your parents commercials come on, take notes. You will wake up and suddenly it's 20 years later and you're beaming with pride at your son's high school graduation. By the way, who's got 2 thumbs up and just bought 5 tickets to the Dylan Gibbons Big Man Big Heart Bourbon Raffle? This guy. Okay. Dave, that is, not me.
Oh, I thought it was talking about you. Okay, well, that's good.
Shout out to Dave. Well, way to support it. He's the big bourbon guy. He's got part of his blood, I think, is bourbon, literally. Nole43, also known as Eric Angel Pillar. Wake up, FSU fanatics. Aslan and Corey, after seeing our schedule on Monday, my first initial thought was, ACC screwed us again. But as I examined our schedule more thoroughly, it's fair to say our schedule is winnable for the first half. Second half of the schedule is brutal. October 8th through November 25th with that showdown rivalry on Friday night. With the showdown, with our rivalry, a Friday night game, and the Gators. He says 7-5, possibly 8-4, maybe even possibly 9-3. Let's go Noles 2022. Hashtag Houday. Hashtag Houday. I'm off to L.A. for the Super Bowl. I'll see everyone at the Warchant spring game get-together. Eric from Cincinnati. That's where the national championship game is next year, too, by the way. But that's awesome. Yeah, let us know how SoFi is. Get it mapped out for our takeover next year.
Right. But either way, good luck. I assume a long-suffering Cincinnati Bengals fan. So that's really cool. I think I will be pulling for the Bengals on Super Bowl Sunday. Kind of coincides with the Braves and the Georgia Bulldogs. It's cool to see teams that don't win a lot win. So I'll be pulling for the Bengals.
I mean, what, the Rams got rings or something? You got Cam and Jalen. Where's your loyalty?
Yeah, but it's L.A. versus Cincinnati, right?
Right.
Those Hollywood fakes. I'm not rooting for them. I'm not rooting. What's weird about it though is that I guess I root more for the fan base.
Yeah,
like
right.
man, the LA fans haven't suffered. It sounded like a 49ers home game in there. Like there aren't a lot of LA Rams fans that have been suffering clearly because they keep leaving the city for the last 40, 50 years, like Cincinnati has.
Yeah. All righty then. We go to M. Adams CZ. We go down to Naples. Sunny and beautiful down there, I bet. Wake up! Personally, I think the schedule's great. Yeah, people will gripe about 2 Friday games and a Sunday game, but it gives FSU national television coverage in 3 very important games. And our opponent in those games have their own challenges. Yes, well said.
True.
Well said.
True. And, yeah, I didn't mention because I wrote in my column, I don't even know if Ira fixed it because I guess he knew the real answer, but I assumed Florida was playing like a high school team the Saturday before Florida State. Like maybe Childs, maybe Godby, somebody like that. But they're actually playing Vanderbilt, which we can make jokes. It's Vanderbilt. It's not, but it is at least it's an SEC school. So they're maybe not quite on par with Louisiana, but it's not a cakewalk. So, they both have relatively similar games this Saturday before they have to play on Friday night.
Okay, I like that. All right. I love having Florida on a Friday night game in Tallahassee when Doak will be rocking, says Mark. And we have got plenty of time to prepare for Louisville, which, heavens to Betsy, is a must-win for this program looking to climb. Look at Mark. All right. I like that. Bold. Also, how about Jermaine Johnson tearing it up at the Senior Bowl practice? That dude could have come to Florida State to just get some film and then be drafted anyways, but he did so much more for this program and literally could have changed the trajectory of this program. That and Corey getting Norvell all fired up after that 0-4 start, that contributed. Go Noles, love you guys, and spring football is right around the corner.
Yeah, Mark, you're the best. You know that. Yeah. I think by and large people are the Friday night game. I mean, on the road, I guess it doesn't matter that much. Again, you get the benefit. Louisville has to play 6 days later. You get 12 days off. So even that, when they take care of you, I get the Florida game it can be upsetting, and that's kind of like the one black mark on the schedule. But other than that, I would say you look at it and I don't know that there's really anything to be too upset about. I think they took care of you pretty well for the most. There's always going to be something, right? There's not a perfect schedule. So by and large, it's not an unfair schedule at all.
What about Jermaine Johnson? He's become quite the sensation out there in Mobile. Good for him, man. Hopefully he can sneak into maybe first day pick. I know the first day out there, Jim Nagy, who runs the Reese's Senior Bowl now, was gushing about him and so social media. So good for Jermaine. Would love to see him sneak in first day, if not at least second round. I haven't really looked at a lot of mocks yet, but that's just not a name that I've seen really buzzing around in the limited stuff that I have seen. So I do hope that a good week out there will benefit him.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, look, the season itself benefited him greatly. And I know the video that we all saw on Twitter, or people that are on Twitter anyway, was him dominating that tackle for that one play and just driving him 10 yards back. But, I don't know. It's a long week. So hopefully he has a great week and continues to play like that. They did talk him up, and it wasn't just a one-play wonder. Like, they talked that he had a really good first day, but it's 6 days out there, and hopefully he has a good game. And yeah, he could sneak, I'd assume, into the first round. When you have those measurables and that production, that's got to be pretty enticing, especially for a good team. Like if whoever's drafted at the end of the first round, the Chiefs or the Bengals, it's like, yeah, you could take a chance on a guy like that. That's not even a risk, right? Like, I would be stunned if Jermaine Johnson's not in the league for like 7 or 8 years, right? I would be stunned. So that's worth the risk at that point, I think. It's not even a risk.
That's a hell of a career these days, man. 7 or 8. No, I do hope he'll get a second contract. Yes, he'll get a second contract.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Man, I almost feel like I need to pause the show. Looks like there's some on my Twitter feed from Jimbo. The A&M account tweeted it out, and it's kind of going viral right now. I wonder what my guy's saying.
Oh, it's about
defending
people
himself against the salary cap.
Yeah, people commenting on the salary cap. He basically, calling people clowns, and they're it's insulting and yada yada.
I saw a quote from Saban earlier in the week, maybe even on Wednesday, where he was like, everyone's saying that now it's all above the table. He's like, we've never done that. He's like, we've never paid for a player. We've never cheated. I want to actually hear him say it. But it's, I did hear something I did like not to, well, if we could take a small break here, buddy, maybe take a break off of some questions. So it was National Signing Day on Wednesday. Hopefully you saw our live show with Michael Langston. Florida State's Hayes in the Barn or whatever. But Tom Luganbill on the ESPN show was bringing up that there's a quote from Jack Swarbrick from Notre Dame that was saying what we have right now at the portal is free agency, and in every other sport where there's free agency, it is regulated, but ours is unregulated. And then Tom Luganbill was saying, and I like the idea of this, making like 2 transfer windows. Like you can transfer, like you get that one-time thing. We're not taking that away from anybody. But you make it to where it's like a 2-week window after Championship Saturday, like after all the conference championship games are over. Make it 2-3 weeks where, all right, now you can move, and then make it some undetermined window after spring football. Like make it from, I don't know, like keep the month of May, make it open or something like that. I would like that. I mean, I know NIL is what Jimbo's
what's the point
against.
of it? Like, what is that? What does that
guys
alleviate?
like Chubba Purdy's not going to quit on you in the middle of the season. It's kind of regular.
Oh, I see. Yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree with that. Absolutely. I got you. I didn't know. I thought you were talking about, like, I guess it doesn't matter. Once the season's over,
yeah,
that seems like a rather long, that's a pretty big window. I don't know that you need to shut it one way or the other,
Yeah. Well, but still, though, it's, after spring football, I mean, I don't know, like, you got to make up your mind and figure this stuff out. I shouldn't complain. We got Dylan Gibbons out of it, but it would just be nuts to think about guys transferring in June or, July and then trying to sneak in here like before classes enroll. It's like, all right, well, I guess, I don't know. But then they'll say that's not players' rights, and what if something happens and they have a fault with their coach? They should be able to leave. They should have the portability, but I don't know, because that just seemed like more of a solution, because there's no solution to NIL right now. It's just an absolute madhouse. But hey, it's all about the players, everybody. It's all about the players. Good for them. Good for all of them.
Well, and you talked about it, or I don't know if that was on the air or not, but Jimbo really got defensive on Wednesday on National Signing Day when it was brought up that everybody's assuming that Texas A&M signed another, like, the number 6 player in the country, another defensive end. I think on the ESPN rankings, they have 7 of the top. I think they have 7 of the top 16 or something, or 16 of the top 100 in like 7 5-stars. It's one of the best classes numbers-wise in recruiting history. And obviously people would see something like that, knowing the history of Texas A&M, knowing that this is the first year of NIL, and thinking, well, that's not probably a coincidence, is it? That all of a sudden A&M lands one of the best classes of all time when it's not like they're coming off a great season. That's curious. And he got very defensive, said it was insulting, said it was reported by clowns that don't know what they're talking about. Said something like I think it was on Feinbaum, he's like, Nick Saban talks about his quarterback getting $800,000, and it's wonderful for NIL. Now all of a sudden we're doing well and it's awful, which seemed like an admission. After also saying we don't do any of that. We don't, whatever his contention is, it's just bizarre. Like, if I'm Jimbo Fisher, and I'm not, all I would do is like, yeah, guys, hey, class of 2023, come check out our parking lot. Come check out what our guys are rolling around in. Don't you want to be a part of it? Like, they're not doing anything illegal, like by the letter of the law right now. Yeah. That we know, as long as these guys actually perform some services, that you can say, yeah, we paid them $500,000 to sit there and sign autographs for 30 minutes. Whatever they end up doing, right now, there's no laws regulating it. There's no rules against it, so they didn't do anything illegal. And that's what I tweeted was, what do you think, Aslan? I know you love Jimbo. It's fine, and he's a good coach, and he's proven he's a good recruiter well before NIL. What do you think they spent on this recruiting class?
Oh, man.
To have 16 of the top 100.
Sheesh.
Do you think it's north of $10 million?
No. But I think I've seen something like 20 was thrown out there. I think like an Oklahoma writer was the first person who kind of threw it out there. And this was after the early signing period, like before they wrapped up this kid from Miami, Shamar Stewart. So, I mean, yeah.
Also, remember,
yeah,
Texas A&M, I don't think Texas A&M has coordinators right now. I don't think have they replaced Elko?
Is Durkin not official? I know they went after DJ Durkin from Ole Miss.
Oh, okay, all right. I didn't know if he was official or not. So maybe they do, and they haven't. They haven't just announced it yet. But I wasn't sure that, I just wasn't sure that A&M had even rounded out their staff yet. So I would think. I mean, that's what I said. I said, was it $5 million, $10 million, $25 million? I don't even know what's irrational. I don't know because there hasn't been like a baseline set. So they could have paid each of those 5 stars. I mean, I don't think we'd be surprised if each of those 5 stars got $500,000, right?
Jeez, I mean, but
that's $3.5 million right there.
Yeah.
And then you got to, it's not like they stopped there. They still got other top 100 kids that you can't have a locker room where the number 19 player in the country gets a $650,000 deal, and then the number 48 player in the country gets zip. That ain't happening.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So it's the nature of what's going on right now. It is out of control. I know it makes us all kind of clam up a little bit. It makes you feel kind of gross because of what we're used to. But again, as we all know, the money's been there for a long time. Not to this degree, though. But I just can't imagine what the legal numbers that a place like A&M is putting together to procure players like that. But it's got to be immense.
And I don't think we're all that close to that kind of number, probably.
I talked to Ira. I think it was on Headlines. It might have been on this show about they raised all that money, or they're raising all that money for the football facility. And again, I'm genuinely asking, like, what's better for the long-term viability of Florida State football? Taking that money and building that facility, or go buying 15 top 100 players? That's what the NCAA has left schools to question, to actually pontificate about. Like, well, should we spend this money on stuff that can last for 50 years, or should we in this little short window before they regulate it and come down and make you have to do all these loops? Should we just spend all this money to make sure we have a starting 22 that has 17 NFL players on it? Because we're going to win a lot of games then, and then more money's going to come from that. Like, those are real questions you have to ask. But on no planet are we assuming that Texas A&M isn't paying for these players, because everybody is. I'm not assuming. Florida State has deals for their incoming recruits. So, you know what I mean? Like, not to that extent, but it's like it seemed like Jimbo Fisher was trying to insinuate that they're not paying for anything. And it's like, come on, man. That's like Lance Armstrong. Like, all the other guys in the top 40 cyclists in the world when he was dominating were testing positive for blood doping. Yeah. And we're to assume that Lance is the only one that's doing it clean and he's beating the cheaters?
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Man. Don't speak ill about America.
Oh, I'm just saying. I was saying that back then when he would win the AP Athlete of the Year 6 years in a row. Yeah. It's like, what are we doing here, man? They're obviously Lance Armstrong is doing what all these other guys are doing, because he wouldn't be able to beat them otherwise, because they're not natural. So, of course, he's cheating. And I'm not saying Jimbo is cheating, but if all these other schools, like he even mentioned,
he's cheating, go ahead, it's fine. Or
no, it's not. But it's not cheating.
It's legal. You're saying, okay?
Yeah, it's not. It's not cheating. So I'm not comparing him to he's gaming the system, but I don't think that's the same thing as cheating. Or A&M is gaming the system, whatever you want to say. But to say that all those guys came because of Coley and Damian Craig and Doss.
Doss, shout out. Is that App State landing on his feet? He's back on field.
That's good. Yeah, right. I'm supposed to go back to the old days. Come on, man. Come on. Of course they're doing. Of course they're keeping up with market. They might be setting the market, is what it would appear. Because again, it's a lot like when Hugh Freeze cheated, but all of a sudden all the best players in the country are wanting to go to Ole Miss, and now all the best players in the country are wanting to go to A&M. Come on, man. Come on, it's fine. You're taking advantage of the system. It's what smart people do. So quit being so defensive about it. Anyway, on with the questions.
Well, this is I want to read this quote. This is not from him on the podium. This is him speaking to another outlet, saying NIL did not affect recruiting at all. This $30 million thing is a joke. This idea there's some fund out there, and it was written on Bro Bible by a guy named Slice Bread, and now all of a sudden the country believes it. That's literally, he said those words. He said those words. And then Saban's quote was, I hear all these crazy people on television who say now you're doing it above board. We never did it. We never did it. We never cheated to get a player. We never paid players to come to our school. So,
Man, all right. You believe that?
I really like Nick.
How about
man.
this? What if they paid the parents?
Okay, right. There you go. Live omission or mental gymnastics or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But how, like, it is just Jimbo.
And
we
here's
all
the other
remember.
quote. Here's what I'm going to say, and this is point blank. Here's my problem. There is no $30 million fund. There is no $5 million, no $10 million. This is garbage, and it pisses me off. So there you go.
So what's bizarre about this is Florida State has a fund. Are we to believe that Big Oil Texas A&M doesn't have a fund for its football team with its paying its head coach $9 million or whatever he's making to win 8 games a year? Are we to believe that they've just on the level just because they work harder on the trail? They landed 16 of the top 100 kids in 7 5-stars? But Florida State has a fund. Miami has a fund. I bet Duke football has a fund. Now they probably send most of their money to the basketball program. That's fine. But there is a fund. All these colleges have funds. So why would he say there isn't one? Maybe he's not controlling it, but it just defies belief. It's like when you catch an 8-year-old in a lie and they're like, no, I didn't eat these cookies. And there's chocolate all over their face. Like, come on, Jimbo. And you're not even doing anything wrong. Nobody's blaming A&M for what they're doing. They're trying to win football games, and they're taking advantage of the system the NCAA is allowed to have in place this year. But to say that NIL didn't affect recruiting is insulting and stupid. I mean, that's just ridiculous. Because I bet, Aslan, I'm pretty sure that in 2014, if Travis Hunter had come through, he still would have ended up at Jackson State. NIL had nothing to do with that either. That is a pure coincidence that the first time in history, the number one player in the country decided to go the FCS route. Just like for the first time in history, A&M has landed 7 5-star recruits. That's just a coincidence. That has nothing to do with NIL. Come on, man. Just admit, like, if you're Jimbo, say absolutely it has something to do with it. We have the most money in the world, and we want you, Joe Bob Smith, offensive lineman from Kelso, Texas. Is there a Kelso, Texas? There should be.
I don't think so, but it sounds good, though. Believable.
Come on. I mean, it's just crazy that you would deny it because it's so easy to prove, and it treats us all as dummies. We're to believe that Texas A&M does not have an NIL fund to fund their players and to fund their athletes and their recruits is just astonishingly naive to say. That's just, but anyway, and I'm not mad at him. He's trying to win games, and he got a great recruiting class. Hey, somebody might as well knock off Saban. But I guarantee you Alabama's going to get their house in order for next year, and they're just going to start doubling up whatever A&M's paying. And this is the life we live.
According to Wikipedia, Kelso, Texas is a ghost town in west central Deaf Smith County. It was created as the basis of a massive confidence scam by George G. Wright, an unscrupulous land promoter. His fraud was so successful that the United States Postal Service briefly established a post office in Kelso that operated from 1907 to 1908. The entire tract was successfully eventually sold by Wright and soon disappeared after proposals by farmers to bring in a rail line were unsuccessful. So there, at one point, there was a Kelso, Texas, Corey.
Nice, man. That's exciting. Just pulled that one out. What a great idea.
Back to the questions. Random_John. Good morning, Aslan and Corey. I do hope this Groundhog Day finds you well. When you guys woke up, did you see your shadows? I hope not. I can't stand 6 more weeks of FSU basketball sucking. Hey. Corey, what is the reason you have not asked Leonard Hamilton the same kind of questions you did for Mike Norvell? Meaning, we sure could use some motivation in winning right now. As much as we all love Ira, everyone knows the real juice is with you. Has Ira Jean, he says Ira Jean dot, Jean is dot is Jean. Has anybody else ever inspired a coach the way Corey has? Come on, man. What is holding you back?
Yeah, I mean, I think, 13-7 or, 14-8, whatever the 13-8, whatever their record is, different than 0-4, maybe. And he's had more of a track record of success here recently. So it would be, imagine me like after the Virginia Tech game on Saturday, being on that call and being like, Leonard, how do you get what are you going to tell recruits to come to Florida State? What could you possibly show them that would make them believe that you know what you're doing and you can win basketball games at this level? There are differences, and I know that question was in jest. But I do take a lot of pride in what I did for the season, the football season, with my line of questioning. I feel like, again, I should have my own NIL deal with what I did that day. I'm now that signing day, this great second signing day is over. Man, that was really fun, wasn't it, on Wednesday, Aslan?
Amazing.
It was incredible.
Woo.
Just so much drama. We need to get Norvell to sit down, and we're going to watch that video together. And it's going to be a Corey and Mike react video to the actual video of me questioning him at that press conference. I think that would get some hits, man. I think that'd get some views.
I told you somebody sent us a screenshot from Instagram from another outlet that had used that audio clip to promote something on their website, and in one of the comments it said, "After we beat Florida, Corey Clark breaking that rock," and then somebody responded with a goat emoji. Corey's the goat. Unfortunately, Mike Norvell could not beat an interim coach.
Yeah, didn't happen.
All right. More relationship advice for me, courtesy of random_John Aslan. As for wanting to get married and have kids, do your best to make absolutely sure the person you choose is not perfect, but rather about as perfect for you as possible. I promise you, if the person is not perfect for you, it won't last, and that sucks when a marriage ends. There's like 8 U's in sucks. Whomever it is, always work hard at your relationship, and hopefully the person loves sports.
And that was honestly, it's good advice, because that was the problem with Shanna, is she did marry a perfect person.
That's tough,
and she
man.
that's a tough standard to live up to, and then that eventually the marriage crumbled. But we're still good friends. Actually, we play trivia together. We go watch Brady's basketball games together. We have a good time. Actually, one of the nights we played trivia was just me and Brady and Shanna and her husband. It's just the 4 of us.
Clark's win?
No, so pretty disappointing. The final question was we didn't get the final question. I can't remember what it was, but we were right there in contention and then missed the final question. So.
I disagree. I don't know. Should relationships be hard? I'll put this on my dating podcast. I don't know. I don't think they should be hard, but then I don't think they should be easy either. And I don't think I need somebody who loves sports. Actually, I don't want somebody who loves sports. I want somebody that's pretty apathetic to sports. But I appreciate. Hey, maybe I should take your. I mean, look where it's gotten me so far. Random_John. Maybe I'll listen to you. I'll work hard at it, and I'll find someone that loves sports. Anyways, drink DeLuna coffee, eat Zaxby's, subscribe to Warchant, and for my wife from Cincinnati, go Bengals. All right, there we go. We're on it then. Sorry, Cam. Sorry, Jalen. We're rooting for Random_John's newly beloved wife. Go
Auden Tate too, right? I think Auden Tate's
right.
on the Bengals.
But does he play? I mean, is he active?
Does that matter? Come on, does that matter? Auden Tate is on the Bengals. He would get a ring.
All right. NYC_Nole_2. What's his avatar, Corey? You're not even looking at it, but you should know by now, hopefully.
Is it the 92 Charlie Ward?
Nice. You do listen to when I'm talking sometimes. Boy. Wake up, Corey, Aslan, and the rest of the FSU fam. I don't know. Mississippi State on the mind. Michigan State on the mind.
Michigan State, yeah.
I am pumped for the Friday night Florida State-Florida game. Just imagine, after victories over LSU, Louisville, Wake Forest, NC State, and one heartbreaking loss at Clemson, mind you, they're retooled and they're now in the playoff hunt, a 10-1 Seminole team plays an 8-3 Gator team with all eyes on the Sunshine State Showdown. Miami's 5-6 or 6-5. Question for you, gentlemen. All right, so that was just what's going to happen in the future. Appreciate that. Thank you. Question now. What is the most unique sporting event you have ever seen in your lifetime, and what is next on your list? For NYC_Nole_2, not the most common, but I was hiking the Mont Blanc when the Ultra Trail du Mont Blanc was taking place. These ladies and gentlemen run the entire Tour du Mont Blanc in 24 hours. Insane.
What does that mean? They run? Like, what are they running?
A trail?
Is it cars? Or they're running?
I guess they're running on foot up hills.
For 24 hours straight?
Sounds like it.
Are they running from bears?
I don't know.
They're just running to run? Like one of those ultra marathons.
I'll look it up after I read the rest of it. Personally, he says, I would love to visit Wimbledon. That's not unique, though. It's tennis. Although I've heard great things about the polo at Palermo. Argentina, the parties are supposed to be great. Oh, I bet. Just rich, attractive people everywhere. Keep up the good work and go Noles. All right, well, most unique sporting event that I've ever seen, like in person, and what's next on your list? I think I would want to do Running of the Bulls, although is that really a sporting event? I would like to do running of the Bulls in Pamplona. That'd be pretty cool.
So you get to see the Bulls get killed at the end?
Oh, right, that does happen. No, I just want the adrenaline.
I think that happens in the stadium, though.
Yeah,
you don't have to go in the stadium,
no,
maybe.
I just want to get chased and then feel that
My
adrenaline.
my dad and sister did that one year.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, John
and
Clark,
my dad
dude,
actually got kind of because he's my dad, got kind of cornered by a bull.
Oh no!
And then what happened? It was literally, I think it was him and two other people, like in a corner in the on a brick wall. And this is told to me by him and my sister. And the bull kind of stops and starts going towards them. And one of the dudes that like leads the running, like one of the, I don't know if you call him a wrangler, right. Smacks the bull on the butt with like his red bandana thing, and the bull starts chasing him. So my dad was trying to climb the wall, but he was a 60-year-old man at the time. He was trying to climb the brick wall to get out of the bull's range, but he wasn't there yet, and the guy came and tapped him on the butt.
I know. I'm trying to think. Like I want to face death in its eye, but like no, I don't. I don't want to get gored.
What's
but
the
like,
fun of that?
I don't want to be far away though either, because then I feel like a coward.
Yeah, it's that fine line.
Yeah,
between soul splitting fear, and like feeling like well I could have just been running on the Pom Mont Blanc with the guys in the the questioner was talking about.
All right, so the one that I've actually seen, I would probably say, back in my time, probably in Montana. Have you ever heard of mutton busting, Corey?
Oh man, I do that every night.
Ew, come on now. Well, actually, maybe. So it's kids that are like, I don't know, 7, 8 years old riding sheep, but the sheep are it's bull riding, but on sheep with children. And it's crazy. Like
so they're are the sheep trying to buck them off?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So and
do
people
the kids have their hand in the air? Do they have their hand in the air?
No,
like
they're holding on for
riders?
dear life. They're like bear hugging it. I mean, they're So, but the sheep actually get quite violent. Not violent, but they get aggressive. They're really doing all they can to shake a kid off of their back or whatever. So. That is what I actually.
Okay, that's a good one. I don't know that I can beat mutton busting. That's that's pure Montana too now.
Oh yeah.
Like what else what other state would that be in? When I was lucky enough, my dad, because the way the not visitation, because he could come and see me anytime he wanted, but he would always get me on Sunday afternoons, like Wednesday nights. He was also my baseball coach, so all those nights. But Sunday afternoon was his, like usually I'd spend the night Saturday night, and we'd go do something on Sunday before he got me back to my mom so I could go to school the next day. But so all those Sunday afternoons, I just, like it was a flood of them that came back. He would always see these things in the paper and be like, let's go do that. Let's go watch that. That's in Atlanta. So we went and saw like the number one slow pitch softball team in the country. This team called like Steel or something that they would hit. They were all bodybuilders, and they would hit like literally like 15 home runs an inning. There was no limit. They wouldn't even round the bases. They would just have to go touch first, and the run counted. It was nuts. The scores were like 59-6. So we watched that one time. I remember Paul Newman used to be in racing.
Okay.
And he raced at a local, he might have been racing at the motor speed. I don't think it was the Speedway, but he was racing at some track in Atlanta. And my dad was like, this is going to be awesome. Let's go watch Paul Newman race. And it's like, okay, well, as a 7-year-old kid, it's like, okay, which car is Paul Newman's? It's like, it's that white one. Oh, there he is. Zoom. 2 minutes later, oh, there he is. Zoom. Like, it's not like you got to hang out with Paul Newman. It could have been anyone. It could have been Paul Smith. He's in a car. We can't see him, and he's going 150 miles an hour. So my dad used to always just do stuff like that. Like, just go find these weird, exotic type of sports, and we'd go see like IndyCar racing or slow pitch softball. I will say I took Tallahassee a few years ago, had an ultimate frisbee, not an ultimate frisbee tournament, a disc golf tournament. Oh, like the Tallahassee Open. And they played at Tom Brown Park, which has a course. And Brady happened to be in town for a spring break, so we went and watched that. And the number one player in the world was there. So we got to watch it. I think we followed him for like 9 holes until it was like, all right, let's go eat. They're just throwing frisbees. But it was still cool to see, and exposing Brady to one of the greatest athletes of our time.
There we go. By the way, the Ultra Trail du Mont Blanc is a ultra race, which those are usually more than 50 miles. It covers 106 miles, and you go up nearly 33,000 feet. The winner of last year's Ultra Tour de Mont Blanc, Francois Dahan, who finished it in 20 hours and 45 minutes.
He ran for they have to take breaks, right?
I don't think so,
man. They're running for 20 hours straight.
Just give me some water. I mean, ultras are ridiculous. It's a different kind of
breed
inside of you that does that. Yeah.
They're just gumping it. Like Forrest Gump, I assume, took breaks, right, to sleep and eat.
Yeah.
Not to shave.
And the female winner was from America, Courtney DeWalter. She did it in 22 and a half hours. So,
so that's incredible. That's unbelievably impressive. It's almost to the point of absurdity that you would train your body. It's actually past that point.
Yeah.
And what did she win? $20,000?
I don't even. Yeah, probably not.
Meanwhile, Texas A&M is signing some 17-year-old from Kelso, Texas, for $900,000 who hasn't done anything.
By the way, as we were recording this part of the show, our own Irish Joe Fell retweets the Associated Press's. Is that where Fine Out works now? Does he work out for the AP, or does he work for somebody else? Anyhow, a report out there that I'll read the tweet as it's written out. 2 GOP legislators have sponsored bills meant to tweak Florida's NIL law that was passed before the NCAA suspended all regulations. Some big Florida football schools now consider themselves at a disadvantage. House Speaker Chris Sproul sounds unwilling to tackle the issue this year. Number 2 tweet in this thread. Fine Out continues. Sproul's just told reporters that it's not an important topic to him, and he's worried about a race to the bottom in college athletics. Ira retweeted that with whelp. So this doesn't sound good for us. Are we ever going to get good again? We're never going to get good again, are we?
I mean, that's just it's a little. I mean, look, it's just bizarre that the state that started it, that was the first one on the boat with it, is now got all its schools at a disadvantage with it, and that it's not regulated. So why is Florida regulating it? Anyway, states' rights, I guess, huh?
Well, that ain't gonna last long. There's gonna be some bull gator or golden chief that's gonna call that guy that knows him, like, hey man, what are you doing? What are you going to do to her? I mean, because then you could pull the whole, like, you're going to ruin the economy of the state. You're going to lose.
Well, remember they did it, didn't they? They tried something, that DeSantis had his whole press conference, whenever that was. Was that before the 2020 season?
Yeah,
I think so.
Of the pandemic, yeah.
Yeah, in touting the NIL, and then didn't they try to sponsor a bill where it would be pushed back a year? Yeah. And there was so much heat right away from that they changed their tune. It's like, okay, yeah, no, you can go ahead and start doing this. So I would think that would happen again. It would be crazy that Florida has different rules than Texas and Georgia and Alabama.
Yeah. All right, we got a few more here in the bag. Let's go to Thomasville, North Carolina. Let's go to Daryl. Good afternoon, Corey and Aslan. Hope both of you are doing well. Same, likewise. Good to hear from you, Daryl.
Absolutely, buddy.
Wanted to ask this for a while, but wasn't sure how to put it. So I thought I'd just come out and say it. I've noticed ever since we hired Coach Norvell, we have had some fans that no matter what he does, whether good or bad, they are going to complain. No matter who he hires, they complain. They complain about the schedule, saying he must have had something to do with it, or who he recruits. It's not good enough. He should have done better. I realize we live in a day and age where people are going to complain, and some are never going to be happy no matter what a person does. But is this fan base just that spoiled, or is this fan base been living around the Gator fans for so long that they are beginning to act like them? I remember growing up, this fan base was different. We treated each other with some respect, and that separated our fan base from others because we were like a family. Now all we do is complain about our coaches, complain about our players, complain about each other, and who we hire and don't hire. Is this the times we're living in, or is this the what FSU has become since losing our way? Or is it because we have more bandwagon jumpers instead of true FSU fans, and this is why we all have the fussing with the within our inner circle? Thanks, guys, for all you do. Sign up for warchant.com, drink the Luna coffee, hit the thumbs up button, and go Noles. God bless. Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that Florida State is any different than other schools that go through. I mean, look, man, they've had 4 straight losing seasons. It's tough on all of us. We're all cynical and jilted a little bit and scarred by getting blown out at Miami and losing to Jacksonville State and getting blown out at Louisville 2 years ago and the blowout at Boston College in 2017. Like all that stuff weighs on you, and it's just not. There hasn't been a lot to be happy about. So of course it's going to be that's the tenor of the fandom right now. Like I think that by and large, just from the people I talk to, most people are cautiously optimistic about Norvell. I'm sure there are corners of the internet and corners of the fan base where people think he's in over his head and he sucks and get rid of him and what he's just ruining the program. But I think by and large, the vast majority of Florida State fans, I don't think they're all in because why would they be? But I don't think they're all out either. I think most of them are cautiously optimistic about what he's done, and any cynicism has been rightly earned by 5 years of being bad. I think that's the reality, and I think most fan bases in similar situations would act the exact same way. I don't think Florida State is unique to have upset fans or fans that criticize everything. That's just all of them do. I'm sure Alabama even has fans that criticize things. I know Duke basketball has fans that criticize Krzyzewski for what he does at the end of games. I've been on their message boards and read them. Yeah. Coach K has critics that say he loses them games by the way he coaches in the final few minutes. So that's just part of fandom. That's nature, I guess.
Yeah, man. I don't want to say I take umbrage, but he says, I've noticed ever since we've hired Coach Norvell, we have some fans that no matter what he does, good or bad, they're going to complain. I mean, Daryl's been around. He's been on Warchant since 2002. And that's about the time the mutiny started on Bobby Bowden. Yeah. Bobby caught it.
Well, it was Jeff first, and then it seeped over to Bobby.
Yeah, so everybody's caught it. Jimbo caught it towards the end of 2017, and obviously when he left, Willie caught it.
Jimbo also caught it in 2011.
Yeah. So I don't think it's anything new. Maybe it's a little bit more louder because there's a decent amount of uptick in people that have only been around. And I only want to say only. It's been, coming up on 8 years. 8 years since Florida State won a national championship, so maybe those people aren't, they haven't gotten the rage out of their soul. I think, if you lived through the Jeff Bowden, Bobby Bowden crumbling of everything, and you probably got most of it out then. Hopefully you're not still doing it. But I think by and large, man, I do see people nitpicking at some certain stuff. There's a couple hires that were made. A GM, from Oregon State, got mainly West Coast roots, and a couple people were a little bit dubious on it. But by and large, there's a lot of I believe in what Norvell wants to do. This is a job that's not as important about knowing the state you're recruiting in. It's just more about being organizationally sound and keeping the trains running on time. So, I think whenever I do see somebody say something that's even kind of critical of Norvell, there seems to be at least 3 to 4 people that would come and counter it. I think it's a vocal minority that's anti, if you want to use that word, Norvell. So I don't know, use the block function, Daryl, if you don't want to be surrounded by it. But it's nothing unique to us, man. It's Texas A&M fans aren't happy. They're happy on Wednesday, it's signing day, but they realize what they're paying and they're winning 8 games a year. So they're not all that ecstatic.
And until 4 weeks ago, Georgia fans weren't happy. Yeah. I have a bunch of Georgia fans as friends, and when they lost to Alabama in the SEC championship game, people weren't happy with Kirby, and that's Kirby Smart. That's the national champion head coach right now, and what he's done for that program. But when they lost, when Stetson Bennett threw a pick 6 in the SEC championship game, people were through with Kirby. Not through as in let's fire him, but they were really frustrated with him. It's just, it's sports, man. It's fandom. It's irrational a good portion of the time. They're fanatics.
All right, let's wrap this up. A couple more here. Derek XDQ004, he is an Omega man. Wake up! Quiet national sign days are now the norm. At least last year we had Destin Hill and Ty Malone drama coming down the stretch. I remember February of 2012 when we signed Jameis Winston, Eddie Goldman, Reggie Northrup, Ronald Darby, Watson. Who did we sign with Watson? Who's it Watson that we signed? I remember Watson. Smag, Aguayo, Casher, Mario Edwards.
Maybe Menelik?
Okay, there we go. Yeah, there we go. In those days, we had 3 5-stars, and 9 out of the 10 players were in the top 250. But let's focus on the present. Azareye'h Thomas is going to be the best player in this class. I can't put my finger on it, but I think he has it. Some people call it the Joe Burrow factor. That's me. He and Sam McCall in their interviews sounded not only hungry, but sounded like they are here to be that class that is remembered for restoring the luster to our proud fan base. Are either of them Travis Hunter? Probably not. But they were recruits that everyone wanted, and we got them in garnet and gold. Touche. As far as schedule, I'm thinking 7-5, 8-4. Either way, we will be going bowling and in the right direction. Can't wait for the spring game. Question: do you think it would make a big difference if the second bye week was between Clemson and NC State opposed to after? Go Noles.
Not a huge difference. It would help, but not. I don't know. I mean, I don't. I can't even put a percentage or like a percentage on how much it would help to play either a weaker team before Clemson or not play at all. Does it help you 5%, 20%? I mean, it's still going to be Clemson.
Yeah.
And you're still going to be Florida State. Like, you're still going to be an underdog probably to that team because they have, on the whole, better players than you. So I don't know one extra week what that really does. I mean, I know it heals you up a little bit, which would help. But, you can't always have bye weeks before Clemson, and I just don't know. I don't know what that does as far as performance to play North Carolina State and then come back and play Clemson a week later.
I like it. I'll bite on it. I'll take it. I think that would affect my confidence. That's at NC State, then home at Clemson, and I like that quarterback. My buddy who lives in Texas and lives out in Austin, covers sports, like just gushes about that Clay Klubnik kid. Who they've signed. Now I don't like what they've done necessarily with all this in-house promotion stuff for their coordinators. I like it as a Florida State fan, but if I'm a Clemson fan, I'm like, Dabo, like, yeah, you're starting to burn through some equity here, man. You better not screw this up. But at Louisville, Boston College at home, Wake Forest at home, then at NC State, and then you've got a week off after that trip to Raleigh. Man, that bye week not only I think lets you kind of go into Raleigh with reckless abandon. Then you also get to catch your breath and then play Clemson 2 weeks later. So that would make it the perfect schedule. But Corey has said there is no perfect schedule. Seminole life. Wake up, fellas. I've been going to FSU games since I was born. That's 1986, he says. And for as long as I can remember, our band is relentless with the war chant. I don't mind that part, but I've always thought it was hindering the cheering when on defense. Instead of cheering as loud as we can between, say, second and third down or third down.
Bong.
We are all
Bong.
doing the war chant. I would like the crowd going nuts while the opposing team is calling in their plays would be more beneficial. I'm not saying get rid of the war chant by any means. Only mentioning we could possibly use it better. Watching the Chiefs game made me think about this because they were not using it when on defense, especially in big moments. Thoughts? Appreciate what you guys do.
Who asked that?
Seminole life.
Okay.
I feel like there's a good build up because they play the war chant when it's third down, right? Like I feel like there's a good build up of that, and then you as a fan base should know when they break the huddle or they're getting lined up, like you stop doing the chant, you just start screaming and stomping as loud as you possibly can. Maybe they can taper it off a little bit. I think they also do a good job of tapering it off before the snap because they can't play while the snap's going on. So. But yeah, I don't know what's the alternative Seminole life and Corey, like on the stand up and shout on the jumbotron, and
I understand what he's saying because it is easier on the eardrums, even if 80,000 people are doing the chant. It's still easier on the eardrums and to communicate probably than 80,000 people screaming at the top of their lungs. Like when there's a big possession in basketball at the Tuck. Yeah. There aren't people doing the war chant. They're screaming.
True.
They're trying to make it hard. So I understand that, but it is what makes Doak special. And there could be a balance. I'm trying to think. I know that they obviously do it when Florida State is on defense, but I do feel like when they're getting ready to snap it, it does. I feel like it turns more into a cheer. I don't know are people still doing the chant as the ball's being snapped? Or is it like the first 20 seconds in between plays? These are questions we've been asking ourselves for years. It's something I'm going to pay attention to this year. Legitimately, because that is I don't know what you do. Just tell the band to like cut it out on third down. I would assume do it on first down, do it for half of second down, and then third down is just straight stand up and shout. Like what a great tradition that's become at Doak.
No, I
that
think
rock voice.
as soon as second down is over and it's not first down, like third down's happening, they got to kick into it because then that just lets the players know. That lets the fans know, but then you got to maybe figure out a way to taper it out. But
I feel like the third down when they got the stop against Miami, when Jermaine came over and made cleaned up the tackle, I don't feel like they were doing the chant before that play. I feel like it was just people shaking the stadium, like screaming. Noise. I feel like I could be wrong. You can't hear anything in the press box anyway.
Yeah, you're like in a very sterile environment. Yeah. All right, last one. Let's go out to Hawaii. It's our guy Ralph, Spartan 71. Aloha, guys. How's it? I pray that you two gentlemen and the entire Warchant Ohana are doing well. For me, not so much. Okay, that's not good. Last Thursday, while walking down the hill where we have one of our ranges, I fell. The end result, broken leg, broken foot, detached ankle, and damage to numerous tendons and such.
Wow.
Yikes, guy. I am scheduled for surgery Friday morning, 07:30 local time, with a long post-op recovery and physical therapy. This situation is just another in a long list of Miss Ingrid stepping up to captain the ship. From my slip disc injury, going to war, or severely injuring my foot during our church league softball game, I have always called her the star in my eye, but I'm thinking I need to say she is the all-star in my eye. If I'm allowed to ask from the Warchant Ohana to please keep us in your prayers and well wishes. If I'm allowed, yes, by all means, man. Man, for sure. Well wishes to you. Take it all seriously. I don't have to tell you this, Ralph. You know the body's a temple, but they're going to do their thing, cutting you open or whatever. But then it's all on you. So the post-op, the physical therapy, man, take that stuff really.
I feel like
really
Ralph's got that on lock. I think he'll take that pretty hard.
Yeah. And let's get you like a cool walking stick. Like a staff, like Abraham or something. And you just when you're walking down these hills. But yeah, man, don't let it scare you. Keep living your life, but just get healed. We're thinking about you, man. Hopefully, this doesn't.
Yeah, he'll go through his. New
Orleans,
Yeah, you better be in New Orleans. You better be walking without a limp, buddy. He'll hit rehab hard. I mean, I feel like all Marines kind of attack that kind of stuff. That's what makes them unique. What did he say the injuries were again?
Broken leg, broken foot, detached ankle.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I think when you, it's something about when you like break your ankle, you also automatically break your leg, or if you break your leg, it's like they go together. So yeah, his ankle is busted.
It's like the Joe Theismann injury or something. It seems like I hope it wasn't like a compound fracture.
Yeah.
But breaking the foot too seems odd. Yeah. Like, hey man, you know what I mean? Like that seems.
You saw the photos that he was climbing up the mountains. He was shooting photos from. Yeah, it's rocky crack.
I wonder if it was a spill, like he fell down a side of the hill or something.
He says he fell, yeah. He says he was walking down the hill and he fell. So.
Well, I know falling, but there can be, like, did he fall 50 feet?
Oh, I gotcha.
That's what I mean. Like, did he fall and hit a rock or something, or get caught up? That's awful, Ralph. We're thinking of you, buddy. Get well.
On to football, he says. Now that the schedule is out, I cannot lie. I am really enjoying some fan reaction of the degree of difficulty. I long for the day when an opponent would line up against us. We would just shrug our shoulders and say, let's dance. Yeah, you were on fire yesterday, by the way, Corey. That was some of your best stuff, I think. And I should have probably done more to promote it. A lot of good stuff from you. A lot of pointed criticism, fair criticism. Just kind of like, hey, man, it's Florida State. We're allowed to start winning these games. I
was wondering. I'm always on fire, buddy. I told you about the mutton humping that I've been doing. What'd you call it? What is it called?
Mutton busting.
Sorry, my fault.
Since there will be plenty of time to talk about the prospects of the upcoming season once we start getting your spring practice reports, I wanted to ask about non-FSU-related sports events you have participated in, wanted to participate in, or have observed that interests you. For me, Ralph, my annual Honolulu Marathon seems to be over. I will not be able to compete in the Spartan Race Series or run with the Bulls in Spain. All right, see, we're of the same cloth we were cut.
Yeah.
I am more than likely limited to the observers category, so that leaves going to the Isle of Man to watch the TT motorcycle race. In closing, I appreciate all that y'all do. Support DeLuna and go Warchant. Oorah.
Yeah, my answer is boring. It's probably the Masters. Just never been there. I'd even go on like a Tuesday, man. I just want to walk the grounds and be there. I definitely would not want to be there on a Sunday. That just seems like a nightmare. But just to be there for a practice day or like an early round, seems like that would be a lot of fun. I know it would be a lot of fun. It's something I got to cross off the list.
He says, does that count as participating in it? Because what sporting event do you want to participate in or wanted to participate in?
Sure, I would love to play the Masters. It'd be fun. I don't know why they don't invite me. It's weird. I wonder if you could be so bad out there, like I would be. Literally, if I kept a real score on that course, you're probably talking a 130. Could you be so bad that they ask you to quit playing in the middle of a round? Like, sir, not because you're slowing it down, but because you're ruining the course.
You know, they do have a media lottery where local media can enter and they actually get a chance to play the course, I think, on Monday after the tournament.
Yeah, no chance I would ever do that.
I just think there's something about that place that you just know it's special. And if you just have to be a different degree of psychopath to desecrate that place. Like, you would know, you would stop. You would just hit punch 7 irons. Like, you're like, I don't want to ruin the grass. I don't want to create any more divots. Like, right. I'm just going to, like you would feel the guilt, the shame, the pressure of not ruining this beautiful, pristine place.
I think my game would desecrate it enough. Like, this is a 120-yard par 3 and he's got a 3-wood out? What are we doing here? Get him off. There's got to be a putt-putt course down the road in Augusta. I can't think of anything off the top of my head that I've always wanted to do that, like, I would actually have I would love to pitch in a major league game or something, but something that I would actually have the ability to do, like running with the Bulls. There's nothing that I can think of that comes to mind.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like what I don't know what's like on my bucket list to cover.
Maybe a 3-point shootout.
What's that?
Like a 3-point shootout or something.
Okay, yeah, like all right, yeah, get a couple racks.
Yeah. See how many I could get. Yeah, get that money balls.
All right. Yeah, I'm trying to think.
That was my nickname in high school, by the way.
Oh gosh.
Hey, I was gonna say, do you think when it comes to Ralph, what is the threshold for when there is so much pain that you're experiencing that you go into shock and you don't really feel it?
Oh man.
Do you think
like
that's
a compound fracture? Probably your bone is splitting through your flesh.
Ralph, on the next one, let us know if you felt the pain or if the adrenaline kicked in and you didn't feel a ton of pain until later. I'm genuinely curious, like if and I know he handles pain in a different way than mere mortals, but I'm genuinely curious as to what that threshold is where people, they've done something so bad to their body or something's happened to them that they don't even really feel the pain.
Yeah. And I love it. Like 300-pound football players have to get carted off. They're like not even flinching really.
Yeah.
And then a 140-pound soccer player gets nipped in his heel and just starts writhing in pain on the ground, just like slamming the ground. I've been shot.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. Are you just trained as a football player to not show pain? It's crazy. Like, I'm not saying like cry out, but like you just never see like anybody like slamming the ground. Like, oh my God, this hurts so much. It's just kind of like pointing at the ankle, or you're just sitting there as still as possible, and then they run over to you and they what's wrong, and you're just like, my knee. And yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Hey, need to get your thought on this. I edited in for myself last night, but only like a 2-second comment because that's how I roll. We did mention Miami had not even been able to complete their staff. I still don't know what's going on, but they hired Kevin Steele. What do you think about the Kevin Steele hire, Corey?
I don't know. He's been around so long and at so many different schools. I mean, he's been good at some places and terrible at others. It's just I don't know. There's no way to know. He's a name, but we all got names, don't we, Aslan? I really don't have a strong opinion on him of him one way or the other. He's done good work and bad work. He's been at basically every school in the South, and he doesn't stick. It's not like he's had a long tenure anywhere. So no matter how good he is, Miami's going to be looking for a new DC in a couple of years because that's Kevin Steele's. That's just his track record.
It's his MO. All right, well, that's a little bit of an opinion for not having an opinion. Good stuff.
Yeah, thanks, buddy.
All right, that's a wrap for us for this week, but not for the website. The website's just a living, breathing organism, just like you all. and it's always functioning at all hours,
Hey,
all day.
what did you think of my joke tweet with Tom Lang?
Well,
Did
it's
we
funny
pull it
you s-
off?
It's funny you said that. We had to stop our show yesterday because Corey had sent it, but then hadn't completed the punchline on it.
Right.
And when you told me about it, so everybody, the whole issue with Brian Flores, again, the text message from Bill Belichick where Bill texted Brian Flores saying, hey, congrats, Brian, on the Giants job. But turns out it was meant for Brian Dable, but went to Brian Flores, which, I mean, what an absolutely deflating sort of thing, you know. I mean, it's like La La Land, Best Picture. Like, oh, no, never mind. No,
Yep,
not you guys.
yep.
Spotlight or whatever it was.
Moonlight, man, by the FSU grad. Much better movie anyway. I'm glad Moonlight won that one.
So, like, when Corey told me, he's like, oh, yeah, I pull it off on Tom. I'm just like, but, like, what's the tie-in? Like, 'cause the whole thing was that a Brian got it, and
Right.
it was the wrong Brian. I'm like, what other Tom? Like, what? I don't. But there was something else important that happened on Tuesday as well, Corey, so it worked out, right?
It is, yeah. So what I did was I texted Tom Lang, who works with Warchant and member of the Jeff Cameron, just member of Warchant,
Yes.
and employee of Warchant, one of Warchant's own. And I texted him, basically, it's been awesome. I just thought it would be funny. It's been awesome getting to watch you work up close. This has been a remarkable stretch. I'm sure you're going to do great in whatever your next endeavor is. Good luck to you. It's just been a pure joy watching you work. Sincerely, you're going to knock it out of the park, whatever you do next. And I just sent him that with no explanation. And I thought immediately he would see it and send like a couple of question marks. And then I had the punchline set up where I basically repeated what Belichick said to Flores word for word, like, oh, sorry, I really F this up, and then go on with it. But he didn't respond for like an hour. And then I started thinking, man, he's going to see that and wonder, what in the world, what is this? And so then I tried to call him to explain it to him, and he didn't answer the phone. So when he finally got his phone and was in, not only did he get that text, but he had 2 missed calls from me. So Aslan and I, and so I'm like, man, he might legitimately think this is something. I might have overstepped here with this stupid little joke I'm trying to play for Twitter, for likes on Twitter. And then he calls in the middle of you and I doing the show, right?
Yes.
And I have to be, Aslan's in the middle of a run. He's in the middle of a rant. I should have just put myself on mute and answered the call, but I interrupted Aslan to be like, hey, man, I got to take this real quick. Aslan wasn't real happy with me because I interrupted him right in the middle. But that was the reason, because Tom was like, hey, man, what's up? And I had to explain the whole thing. Like, hey, man, I was trying to do a bit on Belichick and Flores. Just try to respond when you can, like incredulously, or you don't understand what's going on. So anyway, if you see that on Twitter, there was a lot more involved than it should have been, which kind of ruins the joke anyway. But then also Tom played the perfect straight man. He acted like he was genuinely confused. Those were perfect responses. So it worked out great.
Yeah,
it worked
look at the
out great.
timestamp. You sent it at 5 o'clock, and he responded at 8:10.
Oh, does that show up?
Yeah, you see the timestamps.
Yeah. Oh, well. Hey, man, he's busy. He's a busy guy.
No, I'm saying just it goes to like you having that urgency to like drop out of the show. Like, dude, I need to really. I mean, golly, it's been good to see this poor guy. So yeah.
Some
Corey
people
Clark-
actually work for a living. I just try to come up with pranks for Twitter. Good stuff.
We spoke to AJ Duffy. I don't want to give him short shrift, but anything memorable that he said from you? I tried to bait him into saying that he was here to compete for the starting job, and he didn't take it.
He wouldn't really. No, honestly, not really. There was. Y'all go watch the video for yourselves. Pretty guarded, which is fine. He's also his first interview as a college athlete, but really nothing at all that stood out. And I transcribed the whole thing. So I guess the fact that his dad had the relationship with Norvell from back when Norvell was at Arizona State. So that trust in Norvell played a big role in his decision and like never wavering. But, other than that, no, not really.
Okay.
You?
No, I just I baited him and he didn't take it. I wanted to hear some kind of
right.
just some kind of like, I mean, like what if Brady shows up to if it was Brady Clark and he's like, oh man, Jordan's awesome, and I hope I can learn as much as I possibly can from him, and I want to push him to be the best that he can. But I also want to do what I can to help this team win, and if that involves me having to play, like that'd be awesome. Like I don't know, I mean that's a tough thing to put the words in the mouth of an 18-year-old. But
you also got to think about Rodemaker too. I assume he's working out with Tate right now as well. So, you coming in and saying, yeah, if Jordan can't play, I want to be the guy. Then you're kind of, I don't know. It's an odd dynamic to be in right now. But of course he wants to start. He is not probably going to start, but he wants to start. And at worst, he wants to be the number 2 guy. But he did say he's in the playbook and that Jordan Travis is helping him learn. He did have a good quote I thought about, like, there's no magic plays. Yeah. It's not like he's having to learn, football's football. It's not like Florida State has magic plays, which we would all agree with. But he did say that, like, he's learning the terminology and learning the playbook is really what he's focused on before spring practice. So, and he does apparently love to watch film. So that's a good thing too.
I would like to ask him just, and I'm guilty of it, of just making football out to be maybe more complicated than it should be. It was the whole thing, Willie trying to simplify it. I'm like, it's a difficult sport, man. You can't just go out there and try to really just totally make it too easy. But it's like, all right, man, like, what is our call for when we're going to audible something to the right? We're going to keep the run play, but we're going to run the boundary instead of the field. It's going to be just one word. And I mean, I get it. I'm not expecting you to pick it up the first week. But, man, if you're a kid that shows up in January, like, you should know your terminology pretty inside and out by the time fall camp starts. I'm not saying spring. I mean, spring, it'll be a bit of a learning curve. But, yeah, I mean, if you have the physical ability and, you should have the mental acuity to be able to pick the stuff up and go out there and compete. But then I guess a lot of it's speed, and then, everybody knows. Everyone's got to play until they get punched in the mouth. Everybody's got to play until Derek McClendon's coming off the edge, with his hair on fire.
You're right. So. You're right. Quayshawn Fuller. Yeah, no, I think the thing with him is not going to be whether he knows the playbook or the plays. It's just going to be adapting. It's not. I don't think that's the big adjustment as much as the adapting to what he's facing and what he's seeing. Like, it's one thing to know your plays. You still have to read a defense and know what they're trying to do and how fast they're going. And that's the thing that he will need plenty of work on. But he gets all of spring. He gets all of August. So that does help a lot.
All right, folks, we'll drop another show if we have to, but otherwise it's probably a wrap for the week. We'll be back Monday. Corey will be back with, I think Tom and Corey are going to put something together because I'm going to be out of pocket, going back home. My buddy's 40th birthday party. It's on a Sunday. I might be able to do, but, like, do I really want to go out and, half rear-end it because I have to come back and, let me go out. Let me just go out.
Okay,
I got to let loose. Right. I can't remember the last time I'm just going to get drunk. Not that it's going to happen Sunday, but maybe you'll call for it.
Well, good luck, man. We're all don't make any mistakes. Don't make any bad decisions.
I'll try not to. I hope I haven't gone too long over the Langston show. Anyhow, he's Corey. I'm Aslan. Stay connected to warchant.com. It's your ultimate Seminoles sports source. And thank you for listening to Wake Up Warchant. It is fueled by DeLuna Coffee. Come explore our world of coffee. DeLuna Coffee features over 24 different blends. DeLuna's unique roasts can be delivered ground finely for drip coffee makers, coarse for the craft crowd, untouched as a whole bean, or even in convenient K-Cups. Founded in 2014 by the Lubbock family, Ed and Brett are FSU alums and boosters who are extending a special offer to all listeners. Use the promo code WARCHANT15 for a 15% discount. Visit DeLunaCoffee.com and check out their Facebook and Instagram.